Recording. I am so excited. It's our October Tanzanite Euro meeting, but I am doing the recording for Movember. I think that's what I call it, Movember. So, Jeff, when you're ready, please come on screen, and then we just have a clock to complete, and then I'm going to pin you, and then I'm going to ask you the question. It's a grandfather clock that my children are, but they are a little bit, a few minutes late. So, my beautiful Jeff, please introduce yourself and tell us what does it mean to be a man.
Thank you, Sanet. It's good to see you today. Yes, for me, I guess it's based on my faith. That a man should try to protect and lead as best he can in a lot of situations, and I think that puts a lot of pressure on me, not in a bad way. I think in a good way. And so I feel an obligation, I guess, to live up to certain ideals that I have about what a man should be. And of course, nowadays, that's up for debate. What's a man? What's a woman? But what personality traits and that type of thing. But at the same time, I relish that opportunity too. So.
I, I loved it. That's beautiful. What is the one thing that you can give somebody advice on that have changed your life?
Yeah, I think especially for men, but certainly for everybody, that in life we tend to avoid doing the hard things, right? And part of my story is about climbing a mountain, climbing Mount Rainier in Seattle, Washington, and it was very, very difficult physically, right? This was a physical challenge, but I have found that the difficult things in life are usually the ones that we avoid are really the ones that help prepare us and make us better at in our daily lives.
So we just have a big noise there at the back, but I'm going to mute myself. Can you please tell us what is your golden nugget?
So my golden nugget would be that do the hard things in life. It prepares you for the hard things in life that choose you.
I love it. I love it. Thank you so much. So let me unpin you, and then there you are. Hello, my beautiful gentlemen. I hope that you are amazing. We quickly had Jeff's interview for November. So I'm going to ask you what is your, to introduce yourself. And then I'm going to ask you what does it mean for you to be a man. And then I'm going to ask you a golden tip and then your golden nuggets. Okay. So, uh, chat, there you are. I'm going to pin you. Just give me 1 second. Pin you. Okay, there you are. So, my beautiful chat, please introduce yourself and tell us what does it feel to be a man. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Chad Williamson. I'm from the Vancouver, Canada area, and my background is in engineering, and I'm also the father of 2 wonderful daughters. Call myself Chad the Rad Dad, and one of my daughters has multi-diagnosed special needs, so she requires full-time care. I would say that being a man is hard, that we have to be strong for our families and in the world. There's a lot of stereotypes that we've been raised about men don't cry, and we wear a lot of masks. And there's a lot of days where it's very difficult, especially if you're isolated and by yourself. And so moving into your second question, Sanet, I would actually say that one of the most valuable things for me is finding other men that I've been able to connect with where I've been able to be vulnerable, to let down the masks and let people in and share, how I'm really doing and what's going on. And that has really helped me to cope and continue on and find strength in that there's joy in strength and weakness. And we share that with others. It can be very powerful and uplifting. So that's something that I recommend for men to do. Got the glasses.
You just gave me goosebumps because, we as women see you as our pillar of strength. But you also need a pillar yourself. How incredible. What is your golden nugget?
My golden nugget is that everyone is doing the best they can with what they know. And so I use that to recognize when dealing with other people that, maybe they let me down or they hurt me and they were doing the best that they could at the time. And I also apply that to myself, that I have failed my family and friends and at different times. And you know what? I was doing the best I could with what I knew at the time. And so if I want to do better, I need to know better and learn, and I can grow and become a better man through that process. And it requires self-compassion is a key there.
That's so beautiful. And one of the words I've learned from your wife, and I just heard you have used it, and you have put an emphasis on and. Thank you so much, my beautiful chat. I'm going to unpin you, then I'm going to take Kenneth. Kenneth, I'm doing a recording for November. And then after Kenneth, I will be doing Stephen and Mark. So let me first pin you so that I can we can highlight you. Just give me 1 second. Oh, there's your pin. Hello, my beautiful Kenneth. How are you doing today?
Hello, Sanet. I'm doing well. How are you today?
I am over the moon. I had my school run and everything was done and the traffic behaved. I came in time to be able to be with all of you. So my beautiful Kenneth, please introduce yourself and tell us what a man means, being a man means for you. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. I'm Kenneth Hill. I'm from New Jersey, and being a man for me was learning how to be vulnerable. I grew up in an atmosphere where toughness was the only thing anyone wanted to see. My mom's the only girl out of 10 kids, and my dad was a police officer, so one was tough, the other one was tougher, depending on the category. And they just wanted me to always show strength in everything I did. And I had to learn, now that I have two daughters, how to be vulnerable because they had things that they're dealing with, and one of mine is autistic, that I had to learn from them in order to be a better man. So definitely had to learn how to be vulnerable.
Thank you for sharing that. And is there something that you have brought into your life that have changed your life forever, that you can bestow that wisdom on somebody else?
I had to learn how to be a good listener. I used to hear people, but I was really waiting for them to stop talking so I could say what I wanted to say because how I felt was the only thing that mattered. And I had to learn how to be a good listener. And with that, I've learned more than I ever did talking. So that's something I encourage people to do.
As I had our meeting with our Mrs. Spots yesterday, Kenneth, and in the Diamond Beauties, I've got 15 Mrs. Spots that they have half an hour sessions with the ladies. And yesterday somebody said, that's why God gave us 2 ears and 1 mouth. And your ears is open, there's nothing in front of it, but you can close your mouth. And yes, sometimes you can just use your ears and not just waiting for the person to complete so that you can give your opinion. I love that. So my beautiful Kenneth, what is your golden nugget?
It's what I tell everyone to just breathe. You know, no matter what you're going through, no matter how big or small any issues that you're dealing with, you know, just breathe and you'll be fine.
I love that. Thank you, my beautiful Kenneth. Let me unpin you and let me go to Stephen. Stephen, let me pin you so that it's you on the screen. There you are. Good morning, my beautiful Stephen. How are you feeling?
Oh, I'm doing quite well. It's the question that you came up with is what does it mean to be a man? And I think it's actually self-regulating. It's actually stepping into that emotional state of peace and calm because I found that in life we reflect one another's energy and it's the kindest, it's the most loving thing that you can do for anyone else is to be in a space of authenticity, of vulnerability, of being yourself, and realizing that that's enough. It's not about your job, it's not about how much money you make, it's not about the words that you say, it's not even about the wisdom that you carry. It's about just simply being yourself and managing this journey of life. And it's allowing everyone else to be okay as they are as well. And I think if we create that space of gratitude, of just raw appreciation, of excitement, how great is it to laugh with somebody? How great is it to bring this energy into the space? And but also if someone else is having a bad day, or if someone in the family or someone at work, whatever, is going through whatever they're going through, it's honoring them wherever they're at, however they're feeling. And if you can just be that place of security, saying you're okay the way you are, I do believe that that's the best thing that we can do as a man.
Wow, you gave me goosebumps, goosebumps. Can you please introduce yourself and tell us, because you still got a beautiful voice. Every time I hear you speak, I just want to hear more. I love your accent. I love your voice. Can you introduce yourself, and then can you, after introducing, tell us your thing that you have learned that you can,
Mm.
that wisdom you can bestow on anybody?
So my name is Steve Bisher, and it's funny that you talk about my voice. A lot of people have told me that, and it wasn't this way until after I went through my dark night of the soul, where I had to, in effect, it was the death of the ego, and I think when you go through that, it changes your the vibration. But people receive me differently. I saw the world differently, and people receive me differently. So I'm in North Carolina, and I'm on this beautiful journey of understanding, of experience. And so part of that was we have this dramatic shift that we can make within ourselves. And when we make that, other people will receive us differently and we will see them differently. And that's a beautiful space to be in because it's a place of connection and wisdom. So I work in the area of it's motivational speaking, but it's also in the area of motivating others. I see within them things that they may not even see within themselves. So many people are trying so hard to either have the program or the wisdom or the certificate or whatever to do something. And I recognize that the best thing that we can do in life is to simply do it, that we will get better with practice. We'll start off, we won't be very good, like first podcast are usually never very good, but you get better the more that you do. And that's the journey that I'm on is to teach people you have a message. Each one of us has something to share, and share it imperfectly, share it just the way it is, and you'll get better the more that you do it.
I love that. And please tell us, what is your golden nugget?
Well, my golden nugget is it, it's a little bit complex because I was going to say the golden nugget is saying yes because there's immense blessings when you say yes, but I'm a reformed people pleaser. So we have to learn to say no. And what I found is say yes to something greater. So you're saying yes to your values, you're saying yes to something greater, whatever that is. And if we do that, it's no longer about us. It's no longer about our words. It's no longer about our message. We're actually just the carriers, we're just the vessel for something greater. And if we can be that, we actually will reflect that energy and will show up as that. And so it's a perfect space to be in because if you can just be the vessel of something wonderful, a great message or a great idea, then you'll make a difference in the world.
I loved it. I loved it. Thank you so much, my beautiful Stephen. So let me just unpin you and then we go to Mark. And then we're going to have a chat without me pinning everyone. We will see. Hello, my beautiful Mark. How are you?
I'm doing great. A little bit better this week than last because the hurricane passed us and it's all gone now. So we're all good down here in Florida.
Thank you. Did you get my message as well?
I did, and thank you.
Because I can just tell you now, I never experienced a hurricane in my life ever before. So I cannot even imagine what you had to go through. And I mean, that is you get it a lot. So just my praise when you said you are bunkering yourself in, I just sent you my praise because that's all I can do. I never experienced and know what you are going through. So my beautiful Mark, please introduce yourself and tell us what a man for you means. Thank you.
So I'm Mark Papidis. I'm known as the Be Great Guy because of my work bringing personal development to kids. And if you have to imagine what that is, think of Tony Robbins meets Charlie Brown. So in terms of, to me, what it means to be a man, I'll kind of touch on something that you said earlier in terms of whether we like it or not, we are looked to be those pillars of strength, the protectors, if you will. And I think where that gets messed up sometimes is that when you start talking about the different quote unquote like classifications of what it's like to be the alpha male, right? You have to be the biggest, toughest, strongest, meanest SOB on the block kind of thing. But you don't always have to be that. That isn't necessarily a leader or a man. Personally, I consider myself more of a Sigma. I don't need to be the guy that's up in front. But people follow me because of my leadership capabilities. I would much rather have the people on my team succeed and than having me be out in front taking everybody's credit kind of thing. So I think to be a man, you have to accept the responsibilities that come with that. But how you do it, that's up to you. For example, in a relationship, there's always going to be an equation, an equilibrium of masculine and feminine energy. And I once got in trouble with a friend of mine who was a female, and she was asking me for advice about why she has problems dealing with other women in the workplace. I was like, well, don't take this the wrong way, but you've got a lot of man in you. And she kind of gave me that look like, well, and I was like, well, a lot of your personality traits are very masculine or male, and other women are probably just looking for you to kind of be on their level with them in terms of what they like to do and talk about. And that's why you get along so well with the men that you work with, is because it's like, okay, here's a problem. What's the solution? Okay, let's go do it. You do this, boom, done. Let's go. What's next? So
I love that. And what is the one thing that you've learned that you can bestow on any person or a gentleman out there?
I would say there's the thing that I've learned, and then I'll give you a quote that's one of the quotes that I live my life by. But the biggest thing that I learned is it doesn't matter whether you're a man or a woman, is that we're all people. And for the most part, we all have the same needs, right? The same wants of love and connection and relationships and family and things of that nature. And once you realize that everybody is basically the same, if you start treating people that way, I mean, I used to be afraid to go and talk to a girl or a woman, but then I realized that she's basically the same as me. So if I just go and be myself, she's either going to like me or she's not. And if she doesn't, then that's her loss. And then I'll see if I can, go on to the next one and vice versa. And the quote, which kind of encapsulates that, and I think is something that everybody should live by, and it was by the name of John Honeyfeld. And the quote is, "The only people that you should get even with are those who have helped you."
Wow. I love that. I love that. Goosebumps. Goosebumps. Thank you so much. What is your golden nugget?
I think that might have been it in terms of, it's just keep what you put out into the world comes back to you. So if you're putting positivity out, if you're, have positive energy within your body, then that is what is going to emanate out from you, and that is what you will attract back. And if you take that steps further, and why this is important to do this and follow this every day, is literally at a cellular level in our bodies, we're creating new versions of ourselves every day. There are certain cells that literally regenerate every day. There's other ones like bones and stuff like that regenerate every 6 or 7 years. But if you think about that, literally the person you were 7 years ago, you are a different person today than you were then. And if you're not practicing all of this with your mind-body connection to keep that positive energy from your mind going through your body, literally down to that cellular level, you will have a different outlook on life. You'll have different beliefs, and you won't even realize it until it's too late. And then you have to reprogram yourself.
Wow, that's incredible. Thank you so much, my beautiful Mark. I'm going to unpin you. And while you are, Steve said, come up for me. I would say many women target the best. Oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. So, Steve, can you repeat what you said there?
Oh, what I was saying is it's interesting. It kind of, as a student of nature and someone that watches people, every once in a while you see the interactions between people, and for your friend Mark, what you said was spot on. But there's also this concept that I've noticed that sometimes women will actually target those that are getting the most attention, or the people that are smartest or the most successful. Sometimes they're the most attractive, and it's strange, but it's just this little dynamic. And so I've noticed that sometimes, just like in events where people will have negative comments for very successful events, sometimes that will cause you a little bit of distress when you're putting the event together, but it kind of means that you're successful. It means that, they're coming to you because you're gaining attention. And so that would be the message for that person, is maybe they're getting that kind of attention because you're exceptional. That's one of the things that, it's just a thought, but it's sometimes that when you get negative attention, it's because you're really good at what you're doing, or you're getting their attention and they don't like it. So that was a thought.
Wow, I love that. Thank you. So I see Fricky. Are you able to come onto camera? Oh,
Yeah, there I am.
perfect, Fricky. So I am going to pin you, and then I'm going to ask you 3 questions, and then we're going to have a round robin, and you will be able to ask any gentleman a question. And my beautiful gentlemen, I will be using this recording for Movember, and I'm going to make it something special for all of you. So I just need to get approval from the network. And then if they say yes, what I was thinking of, I will be highlighting you to say how amazing you are. So my beautiful Fricky, let me pin you first, and then I'm going to ask you, please, to introduce yourself and tell us, how do you feel being a man?
All right. So I am as you can see, a little bit older. I've got a lot of life experience, been through different situations, different aspects of life. I think realized later on in life, what is the difference between being someone and being a man. So being a man is someone, to me, that should be striving to have people look up to them, be a gentleman, and be an example. I have found, especially in America, that some portions of the population miss a father figure. And so they miss that part of growing up with what does it mean to be a gentleman, to be there to help others, and to give them hope for the future. I think too often that doesn't happen. And so later on, I think that's one of the things that I've been striving for, was to influence others as a man, to say that there's better things forward. Everything is not as bad as the bad experiences that you've had in the past. There's things you can do to change, to make the future better, and look for the people that can influence you in the right way and not negative, I think.
Thank you. What was the one thing that you have learned that you can bestow this wisdom to any person that's watching this?
So in my work and my life, one of the things is that when I look forward to the future and I see what is coming up and I make plans for it, when plans go bad, it can be devastating. So I'm always looking for what are the what ifs. So what are the things that I can fall back on if something doesn't work out exactly like like I planned for. So having those things in mind up front, or knowing where to go find them, even if I don't have them. But that helps me through that negativity of when something goes wrong now, oh, that's the end of the world. So I think that's, for me, that is always have a backup plan or know where to go for that backup plan. So when something bad happens, you just can move on and say, all right, this is not the end of the world. I can move forward. I know where to go find information, how to get through it.
I love that. I've got goosebumps. Because, Frikkie, there is so many people that get hung up on the stuckness that I don't know, and then they cannot move forward. So I love that. What is your own golden nugget?
If you approach everything with positiveness, the outcome is always better.
I love it. So, Frikkie, I'm going to unpin you now. Everybody's on the line. Chat is able to come on, so you can also ask Chat a question. Is there a question that you want to ask any of the gentlemen? And then when the gentleman answer, he can then have his question to another gentleman. Okay, my beautiful Frikkie, you go first.
Okay. I joined a little late, so I heard Mark speak a little bit. So I would ask Mark then, when you get feedback from people that is not positive, how can you turn that around to them to show them the positive side of things without having them, be mad at you for it?
So if I understand your question correctly, because when you were talking about getting feedback that's not positive, usually I would take that to mean that there was something negative about what I did or said.
Yeah, or a lot of times it's not about you, but it's about their perception. And so how can you influence their thought process to change their mind a little bit, to see the good of things and not just the things that they want to criticize?
Okay. Yeah, because that's where it seemed to go at the end. That's why I was just trying to make sure I clarified.
Yeah.
So, and basically the way I do that is like I just did with you, is literally by asking questions. Because, there's a few things. First off is the person who's asking the questions is the one who then is leading and directing the conversation. And when you ask questions, as opposed to telling somebody something, if I were to just tell you, don't think that way, you're going to be like, screw you, don't tell me how to think. I'm a grown-ass man. I can do what I want, right? But if I start asking you some questions about, what happened, or, if you looked at it this way, how would that benefit you, or how would that hurt you, et cetera, to where you have the thought process then that, well, this other thing could have been better. So in the grand scheme of things, what I thought was a 0 is actually a 5. And, maybe you can even get that a little bit higher. Generally, though, I try not to, like I said, to tell people what to think. It's really only when I can see that it's actually being a detriment to them that I'll try to keep pushing to get them out of that whatever funk rut, whatever you want to call it, that they're in.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? Did I answer?
Yeah, so and it makes me think, because I've had, for many years, I've been more in a mode of reprimanding than educating. And nowadays you need to educate more people that I work with. And I see how you can ask questions to make them think about what they had said, to realize for themselves, is that what they really believe, or is there something else they didn't think of? So I like that idea of asking them questions, and then try and direct those questions, I guess, based on what they may ask themselves a follow-up. And makes them understand what they're saying. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. And I'll usually follow that up with, once I've got that done, to ask them if I have some advice that I think would help them, I would ask them if they mind if I share that with them. Basically asking them for permission to be a coach. And I've had people say, yeah, sure, please go ahead. And other people say like, no, okay, that's fine.
Yeah. Right. Thanks.
Wow. Mark?
So let me see. I'll ask Stephen. So since this is going to be on in November, and I've heard the term before, but never really. I know part of it has to do with the mustache, and I do horrible facial hair. So I can't do a beard. I can't do the mustache. So I'm out of luck as far as that's concerned. But then when I did look into it in terms of really what the genesis of it is, in terms of really about it's men's physical health, and I believe it originally started from prostate cancer, but then other types of cancer. But then also I understand it's also the highest month of male suicides. So we're talking about mental health as well. So I guess so my question is, especially Steve, since you do a lot of motivational work and things of that nature, what would be some advice that you can give to men going into November to hopefully keep them from getting to that point where those thoughts even come into their heads?
Yeah, there's a couple of things, and thank you for what a great question, because that if we can impact somebody on that level of mental health, that we're saving a life, we're making a difference in somebody's life. And part of this is it's normalizing the experience, because this is the stigma that goes along with being a man, is we don't talk about when we're weak, we don't talk about when things are at that breaking point, and a lot of times we're trying to carry it, and sometimes it's heavier than we can bear. And there's two parts to it. One is not only just the emotions, but it's the thoughts. Sometimes the thoughts will get on this cyclical loop that creates an emotional feedback. And sometimes it can become a catastrophic outcome, or it can be an identity issue where, you cannot live. I know people that could not live without their children, and they went through a devastating divorce where it caused them great financial distress. It caused them great personal distress and all of that. And they were in a place where they just didn't know how to escape the pain, and they couldn't live with their future projection of how things could be. And so it's not negating any of that experience, because it's real. When you're in the muck, when you're in the mess, it can be difficult and it can be quite painful. But I always want to caution people of making a permanent decision to a temporary crisis, because things will change. We know they'll change, and sometimes they get worse and sometimes they get better. But it's that journey in life. And what I found, that the greatest purpose of life is to realize that we can make it through suffering, right? We can make it through that circumstance that creates the suffering without suffering, right? We can experience the pain, but we can actually transform and grow from that. So my message to people that are going through this, like you had mentioned cancer and some of those things, many people have a crisis of identity when they experience a health crisis or a change in relationship or change in status. And if they can make it through that, sometimes it changes their perception. Sometimes they actually connect to a deeper strength, a confidence, an identity that will change them forever. And I know many people that have been through some horrific circumstances that have come out and are on the motivational speaking side, and they are out helping others. And so my message is it's about where we place our focus. Sometimes things don't make sense. And it's recognizing that, it's becoming aware of what it is that you think about, how you feel, that has an influence on your life. And it's this idea that we are responsible for our own life, and it's journey, and we don't have to be perfect. And at any point we can get on this path of becoming better. And for those people that have something that's going on where, let's say that they've had a health diagnosis, I really admire and I love the people that say, you know what, I am going to embrace however long that I have every morning. Every time they wake up with gratitude. They embrace life. They hug their kids. They do whatever, because they've just connected to how precious life really is. And if I could convey that to somebody, I would convey it to them and say, you know what, this pain is just temporary. It's a gateway. It's a transformation, and you will come out like the butterfly. You'll come out a changed person, and you'll in some ways be over that. You'll be bulletproof in regard to that kind of stuff. So thanks for that question.
Goosebumps. Ooh. Steve, do you have a question for either Kenneth or Fricky? And then when we finish with the round robin, we will go to Howard.
So, if Kenneth, I haven't had a chance to ask you or engage, and so my question to you would be, in the journey of awareness, right? I do believe that we change our perception. We kind of shake off the rules and the beliefs that we had when we were a child. The biblical phrase of, when we were a child, we thought of a child, but then we became a man. So what was that moment that you realized that you were good enough as you are, that you were good enough and what did that mean to you? So what was that moment of transition for you when you actually embraced your masculinity?
Wow, that's a great question. I would have to say it was after the most difficult time in my life. And that's when I went through rehab for drugs and alcohol. Before that, I didn't really care much about myself, so, I was just there. But going through rehab, this lady, Mrs. Johnson, she unlocked something that I never even thought of. She told me that your anger is really fueled by fear, which I didn't think I had. And then she said, your biggest fear is being successful. And I didn't understand it at first, but then I realized that I used to analyze life as things are going good, but eventually something's going to happen where everything's going to fall apart and everything was going to be a mess or a disaster, however you wanted to word it. And she taught me that things can be good every day if you allow it, no matter what you face. And that was actually the pivotal point for me to become the man that I am, because then I learned just how what you spoke about, how valuable each day is. So it was definitely, that difficult time in my life where I went in and asked for help, and I got one of the most spectacular people I've ever known to help me.
Wow, incredible, incredible. Thank you, my beautiful Kenneth. Do you've got a question for Fricky?
I see that you have Dallas Police on there, and my dad and both of his brothers are all retired law enforcement. I don't know what your background is, if you were ever a law enforcement officer, but what is your bond with them? Because I love my dad and my uncles. They were just great people, just down to earth, and they treated everyone for who they are. But one of
Yeah,
the greatest things, I'm sorry.
no, go ahead.
One,
Sorry.
that's all right. One of the greatest things about them is even their confrontations, as they used to say, with difficult people, they always treated them with respect, which I, to this day, always loved about them. So, what is your history with the Dallas Police?
So I'm not in the police force. I did my military service many years ago, but I'm a cyclist. And so this was a bicycle rally supporting the Dallas Police. So it was a bicycle rally riding with Dallas Police. I am a supporter of the police. Sorry, you might hear some noise in the background here. I support the police, and the police, unfortunately, I have many friends that's in the force, in different police departments and so on. And I know they've gone through a terrible time recently with so many people against the police force in America, and still going on. There's people that just don't care. And I know, like with anything in life, that you'll find the bad apples, but in general, without that support that we can give them, there'll be more of them. So my goal through all of that time, when all of this started, that everyone was against the police force, I did what I can to support them, because more of them need the support than what there are that needs to be talked to and reprimanded about their behavior. Because my experience, the majority of them is there to protect and serve, and not to just get people in trouble and do bad things, you misuse power. So there'll always be some of that, but that is not the majority. And so I do whatever I can to support them.
Thank you, my beautiful Frikkie. So, my beautiful Howard, I'm going to pin you. I'm going to do this recording. Will go on. I'm going to get the network to do something special for all of the gentlemen for November. So, I'm going to pin you. Let me just do that, and then I'm going to ask you 3 questions. Just give me 1 second. There you are pinned now on my screen. So, first of all, I would love you to introduce yourself and then tell us, how do you feel being a man?
Okay. I'm Howard Brown, and I'm a son, a twin brother, a dad, and a husband, and I had a career in technology, and fortunately, I've been knocked down, twice in my life. Very difficult circumstance with stage 4 cancer, blood cancer, lymphoma at age 23 and a half. And I was determined, resilient, and lucky enough to get my life back, put Humpty Dumpty back together again. And that was miracle 1. Miracle 2 is that frozen sperm gave me a daughter 11 years later, my miracle daughter, Emily, our frozen kidsicle. And unfortunately, at age 50, I was diagnosed with stage 3, and a year later, metastatic stage 4 colon cancer. And lightning struck again for me. And I've been able to, at a very, very risk of small odds, a 4% chance of living about 6 to 12 months, I'm here, and 5 years cancer free through just sheer resilience and hope. And as you know, I've written a book about it, and I speak about survivorship and other topics. And I have a huge podcast that's all about human resolve, lessons learned, lifting up yourself and others, and inspiration.
Thank you so much, my beautiful Howard. You are my miracle man. And
That's true.
What do you want to tell us how do you feel being a man?
So being, a white man, we're now considered privileged, but that's not the case. It's been, categorically, men have had advantage in business and in other paths, but we've been trained to not cry, rub some dirt on it, get back out there and play, and not show your emotions, and to be kind of statuesque and all of that, macho, not and to isolate. Right? You're not supposed to have feelings. You're supposed to be the caretaker of all, and take and make sure everything's going to be okay. And that's just that's a lot for even a superhero like Superman. And it's not realistic, is my case. But I feel as a man that we have to be in touch with our true selves. And I found my true calling now, after living through cancer twice, to use my light and the light of others to get people on the right track and going again, because we all get knocked down in life, and in business, and in finances, and in relationship, and in health, and it's hard to get back up again. But if you're willing to not isolate, accept help, you can get back up again and get back on the right track.
I love that. Thank you, my beautiful Howard. What was the one lesson you have learned that really have changed you, that you can bestow on somebody else?
One lesson?
Yeah, one lesson you've learned that you can bestow on somebody else.
Men in their time of need, need to learn to accept help and be selfish, and put a cavalry around them. And if they don't have a cavalry, one will be provided and formed with them. to be able to get through the little roadblocks and the big roadblocks that life throws at you.
Thank you. And what is your golden nugget?
My golden nugget. Well, I'll change my screen and background for that for you, my butterfly and dancing queen, is that we all have to choose. We have to choose kindness every day. We have to be able to choose gratitude, choose giving, choose healing, choose joy, choose not to hate. Make these conscious decisions, okay, to shine brightly for ourselves and for others so that we actually make the world around us a better place.
I love it. Thank you so much for sharing. I'm going to unpin you. So my beautiful Steve, you have now given rockets. Do you have a question for Howard?
The question comes up is when you talk about giving kindness, focusing on that and giving the generosity, how can we turn that into a skill and get better at that practice?
It's a great question. So I have a morning mantra that I repeat that. And it's also chapter 1 of my book that I learned from my great grandmother that lived till 101 and came to this country as a 15-year-old, stuck in Europe for a couple of years before she came to this country in the early 1900s. And it actually comes from the Torah, which is the Old Testament or the Bible. And those are the qualifications for walking in the image of God. So if you are kind, okay, it can be learned, all right? And there's all sorts of kindness, okay, from random acts of kindness to anonymous kindness to actually intentional kindness. And the same goes through with gratitude and the practice of it and generosity and healing and joy, okay, and choosing the not tos, what not to do. It's a discipline. It's a mental toughness. It's a physical toughness that is all learnable if you're willing to accept those principles and make those changes necessary.
I loved it. I loved it. Thank you so much, my beautiful gentlemen. So I am on the school run from Monday now, and it's already Wednesday here in New Zealand. So I am trying to teach my 2 grandsons. They can project their day. They can tell the God how they want their day to run. This morning, I was asking Xander to tell me what he wants to experience in school. He said he doesn't want sums. He doesn't want mathematics. And I said, why don't you want? He said, Oma, it's particularly difficult. Particularly difficult, okay? So I said, okay, just change your mantra or change your wording to say, sums will be easy. So he said, okay, Oma, but you don't have your button easy to press. So I said, but just imagine we're going to press the button. So we had such a beautiful morning this morning. So my beautiful gentlemen, thank you so much for the recording. I'm going to see how I'm going to splash you a little bit out there. Yes, there is, Stephen, your information, but please put all your information in, because you can connect with each other and you can maybe be on Howard's podcast. And if you have something on your side, you can invite any of the gentlemen to come to your podcast or shows or anything. So my beautiful gentlemen, this is now concluding the part of the show. I just wanted to say thank you so much for that. I will do the editing. So the 2 other things I quickly want to talk about, Robert W. Jones, if you didn't join him as well, you are welcome to do it today and tomorrow, because on Friday is his last. I think he's got now 22 spots left. So just check in the group. I've posted in the group. I know there was quite a lot of exposure the first year I joined 2 years ago and last year as well. So you will be getting a lot of exposure. Kenneth and Howard is already in the book for this year already. It took me 20 minutes yesterday to do mine. So it was quite fast to do. I just had too many words that I had to make smaller. If that was not the case, I would have done it in 15 minutes. And then the next part is if you would love to be part of the Soul of a Diamond project, and you want to do it, let me know before the 25th of October. Then your amount that you can pay will be $100 less. And then you also have the ability to pay it off in 4 months. It's a 4 months project. You will not only be having a chapter in the book, Soul of a Diamond, but you'll also be coming to a TV show, Soul of a Diamond. There will be a commercial made for you. And then there will be a 2-page article in the Diamond Mama magazine with an ad banner. Perfect. So my beautiful gentlemen, I am going to quickly ask Kenneth, do you have any questions or anything that you want to add for today's session? How was today's session for us? Because I was thinking this morning, maybe I must do something for November. So it was like spur of the moment.
No, today was amazing. It was just great to meet everyone and just, to hear just the different perspectives that they've had in life. And I would love to be a part of this again the next time you have it.
Wow. Thank you. So we have a regular meeting every month. So I don't know what's going to happen next month, but yes, you are welcome to join. Thank you so much. In the meanwhile, I will also be sending you some invites for recordings again, because I have to start recordings for November and December. And I want to have like a few people that will come on to do what was your goals for this year and how did you accomplish your goals and what are your goals for next year and how are you going to celebrate the new year. So there's a show I want to do special for that as well. So you will be getting more invitations for dates to do recordings. There will be you will be able to choose which one you will be coming through. But yes, look out for that. I'm going to start with that in this week as well. My beautiful Mark.
It was great to be on. A very interesting conversations today, as always in this group. So thank you for having me. And so I look forward to next month and seeing some of those other invites.
Oh, wow. Thank you. Thank you, my beautiful Mark. Stephen.
Mute.
I couldn't get it over there. So my takeaway is that when we have connections with one another, we actually take away so much more. So it's learning from each one of you is actually what makes me a better person. So thank you for that.
Wow, thank you. And so my beautiful, before going to Howard, we have our Monday Mr. Hots. The girls love Mark, you came up with the name. The girls loves it. They said Mr. Hots, Mrs. Spots. I love it. The one lady said, Sanet, this is going to be big. I said, I know it's becoming big, because now for the Diamond Beauties, after 1 year, we have now an average of 80 ladies that is joined, not the host, average ladies that is joining the 15 Mrs. Spots per week. So that's quite impressive. So I'm sure it's going to, I know it's helping. But our Monday Mr. Hots is Tiger, JF Tiger, and he had a few gentlemen that came in as yet. So I know that, Howard, you're going to start your Mr. Hots soon on a Friday, and Chad want to do a Mr. Hots on a Thursday, and then Scott will be starting his on Tuesday as well. Oh, there you details. So my beautiful Howard, how are you feeling?
So I apologize for being late. My service, I'm the chairman of the board of colintown.org. It ran over a half hour, so I want to apologize to you because it looks like it was a great show. I always like interacting. Sanet, you and I have just grown a beautiful friendship and bond and joint ventures together. And we're doing Soul Diamond Author Beauty tomorrow. Soul of a Diamond Author's Journey tomorrow at 4 Eastern. And I think that what you've done and set the foundation with the diamond beauties of having over 1,000 women, and the men are starting to build, right? It's just men are going to take more time. We're different. We're from Mars, not from Venus. And but it's going to build. And so you have the right foundation, and you're bringing in a lot of really very, very articulate, caring men, and that's how it starts. And I'm one of them, and I want to help it build. And I think it's beautiful that we have a book dedicated to the men, because you already did one for the women last year. So, and I'm in that book. I'm going to be in that book too. So whatever Sanet says, just say yes and make life easier.
Well, I actually, I've spoken to the ladies and asked them, can they give me feedback how many were invited on a podcast and TV shows after this exposure? And that was quite impressive. And you know, my beautiful Howard, my heart is just so big. I cried when I heard, you know, when I looked at the stats, and I was like, thank you, God, for this God-given project, because He ultimately gave me this dream, and all I just had to take the action. So my beautiful Howard, you can just let us know when you're ready to start with Friday Mr. Hots. Then we will create your on the events tab. So my gentlemen, it will be all in the events tab on the group. And then my beautiful Frikkie, how do you feel?
Glad that I had the opportunity to listen to all these gentlemen, get the advice, and a lot of things to think about. And of course, I don't know everything, even though I've had years of experience and always learning. And that's one of the things that I keep hoping I can continue to do. And so I appreciate all the input and comments from other people.
Wow, thank you. Thank you, Frikkie. So my beautiful gentlemen, may I give you one challenge? So Kenneth and Mark, Stephen, Howard, and Frikkie, I would like to give you a chance to connect with each other on a coffee chat, to have a coffee chat with each other. Will that be able to, will you accept my challenge? That's the word I was looking for. Oh, Mark said yes, Kenneth said yes, Stephen said yes. Howard and Frikkie, okay, you said yes. So my beautiful ones, I just want to tell you, I had my number 523 coffee chats in 2 years and 8 months. There's a lot of amazing people out there. There's a lot of people, like I could not believe a lot of people doesn't have a gratitude journal, or not even say gratitude, thank you for the day. And like Stephen and Howard said, and Mark, you and Kenneth said, and Frikkie said, if you start off with gratitude, your life is so amazing. So my beautiful gentlemen, I am in gratitude of all of you. My beautiful Kenneth, Mark, Stephen, Howard, and Frikkie, thank you for joining. Please have an amazing week. I can just tell you, I am in heaven, seeing my beautiful grandson's facial expressions, playing with them. I fell down the steps. I'm not used to the steps, so I am a little bit, with my feet, but I am enjoying. I'm on swings. I'm going on swings. I'm like a kid again. So for me, I am over the moon being here, and I'm making memories. So for my wish to all of you is make memories, love yourself unconditionally. And then I love all of you. Yes, my kissy. Mwah! Thank you. Baba, my beautiful gentleman. Oh, thank you, Mark. Thank you. Bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye, Frikkie.